The True North, the racing podcast, is presented by Vision 20 Studios. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Time to strap in, pull those belts, and get ready for an action-packed episode of the True North Racing Podcast. Are you ready to unmask? Unhelmet your favorite racers? Get ready for the most fun you'll have outside the racetrack to get you ready for the next race. You're listening to John Morrison and Megan Mitchell, and this is the True North Racing Podcast.
Welcome to a new episode of the True North Racing Podcast. We are live here at Motorama, Custom Car and Motorsports Expo. I'm your host, John Morrison. Joining me is our first guest of the day. We'll be up here for 3 shows today. We got the driver, number 45. We got the pavement princess herself, Kaitlyn Wallace, joining us. Kaitlyn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How have you been joining Motorama so far?
It's an experience and a half. It's a lot for someone like me. I'm normally really kept back and keep to myself, so this is a lot, but it's quite fun.
That's awesome. Well, your car is located over in the Flamborough Speedway booth, which is just in Hall 1B over here. If you guys see the Flamborough Speedway tent just up over here, you'll see the number 45 Dairy Queen car. It is, I'll admit, is one of the better looking cars here. But I may be biased just because you are a drone media driver, but we got yourself, we got Mike Thompson over here, we got Connor Maltese in the show as well. It's been a fun show so far. We're only on day 2. They've only been open for an hour in day 2, and we are having so much fun already. The crowd is already great so far, but of course we want to talk more about you. We don't want to talk about the show too much. We want to talk about you. You've been enjoying the show, which is great. How's your off season been going?
It's been fun. Got a lot of town time for myself, so it's nice. We sent the engine away back in the fall once racing was done, so we've kind of just been on limbo mode till I signed up to do Motorama. So then we brought my spare car out so that we could finish the decals on it and then make sure it's up and running so at least it's drivable to get in here, and then made it all shiny and got it all prepped. So we just got the engine back a couple weeks ago, so now that this is going to be done and over with, we're going to start putting up the actual car back together and get it ready for Flamborough season starting.
That's awesome, because we are coming up pretty darn quick on the race season.
Extremely quick.
I didn't realize, it's always weird because we always think when racing stops in October that we have so much time until the following race year. And next thing you know, we're at Motorama, we're here, and now realizing we're only a month away from being on track.
Yeah,
roughly.
It goes by very quickly.
And it boggles my mind how quick the off season actually goes.
Yeah, if you think about it, when we stop, we do have a lot of time, and then it's just something just starts, and it just keeps tumbling real quickly until it's opening night on Flamborough Speedway, and then all the other tracks and everything else, and then we're full-blown race season again. So.
Oh, look at that! We got Sandy Murdoch standing over here. Hey, Sandy, how's it going?
Not too bad, thanks. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Pretty good.
Gonna.
Well, we're having fun.
Yeah, gonna enjoy
Always.
the show. Gonna enjoy the show.
Yeah, I donated $20.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I told them I was a senior. Do you guys believe I'm a senior?
No, you don't look a day over 30.
Exactly.
We'll see you later, Sandy. So that's awesome. Thanks so much for stopping by, Sandy. Sandy is you're the grandfather and the father of one of the of 2 of the drivers in the CVMs. Quinn Murdoch in the number 7, and then Steve Murdoch in the 42. And that's so there's a father-son duo that we got racing in the Canadian Vision Modifieds. I got to give them a shout out. I love that division, and I miss them actually very dearly. And I've been actually missing going to their meetings lately, which is kind of weird to say because I don't like meetings. But
they're a fun group by the looks of it.
They have so much fun. And the best part is that with that, and again, we're gonna get back to talk about you here in a second, but
I'm good.
but with the Canadian Vintage Modifieds, you cannot get upset with a driver and then next week go to Sunset or Peterborough, or you can't take that car
No.
anywhere. If they get upset, they want to go somewhere to race, they got to go across the border.
Yeah.
They're not racing anywhere close, unfortunately.
No.
But Sandy, we'll be definitely seeing you over the summer here at Flamborough Speedway with the CVMs. No. Okay. All right, sounds good. We'll see you in a bit, okay? That's awesome. Well, like fan question period, except for where they were just having a conversation. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, so with going back to what we were talking about with your racing, why don't we talk a little bit about how your last season went?
It was good. Going into the season, I had a lot of high hopes. I was dead set on going for a championship. My car had plans otherwise. After like 2 nights in, we had engine problems like we usually do. And
2 nights? I remember practice day.
Okay. Okay, you don't gotta call me out like that. I think we blew an engine up pulling the car out of the trailer one night. So that's kind of when it was shot down about going for the championship, and we just kind of decided to learn the car for the season because it was a new car. So we worked out the bugs pretty quickly, and
I'd say so.
Oh, it was fantastic. Once the car got in a groove, it was wonderful, and we tried new setups, we tried new designs, and like, I had the same car for about 6 years of racing. Like, I never changed my setup. I was very strict on how I drove my car because I was scared to drive a loose car. So I finally listened to everyone around me that have been telling me for 6 years on how to loosen my car up and it'll make it faster. I listened to them, and I tried new setups, and I can tell you it does make it faster. It really does. It just took me to get confidence. So, yeah, we tried new setups, and the car got faster, and I got more confident behind the wheel. And that's more so what I ended up wanting to do for the season was that, and just learn the car more so that I could better my driving style to be able to actually be a contender for the championship.
And a contender you were, because you finished second on a couple occasions,
Yeah.
right? And you even finished second in the overall points.
Yeah, I think there is about a 15-point gap between Thompson in first place and I.
And you know what? That's great that you guys were so close. He had a dominating season, winning a lot of races, but you were also right there. You weren't letting him really get away, and he wasn't able to pull away from the points.
I find when it comes to points, I find it's consistency. You don't have to win all the races. You just have to be consistent. Like, there was people years ago, I remember watching them. They never won a race, but they were consistently top five, and they ended up being third in points one night. So it's all consistency, and I lived off of that and just wanted to better my driving style, and it worked out in the end for me, that's for sure.
I'd say you improved so much last year, and it was so much fun watching you, as it always is, because, you know, for a guy like me, you got to cheer for a Dairy Queen car. Like,
Oh, I have that going for me with all the little kids, too.
I figure you would.
I'm the ice cream car. It's great.
Now you just need to put, like, an ice cream cone on the side of it somehow.
Oh, that'd be cool. Or a blizzard.
Hey, Mrs. Wallace, are we able to figure something out for that?
An ice cream cone on the side of it.
Get an ice cream cone going into the DQ or something? I think there's a great marketing idea there. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. Really get the kids going.
We have Caitlyn's mom standing beside the cameraman over here. She's laughing away. She's having fun, so that's good.
Hi, Mom.
She might be annoyed with us by the end of it, but that's about
100%.
it. But going into this year, what are your hopes for the 2024 season at Flamborough Speedway?
Honestly, my biggest hope is that we don't struggle so badly going into the season. Like, I hope that this season is one of the first seasons that we'll be able to go out strong straight away, not a whole bunch of problems and then start going strong, because I feel like that will help me a lot in the end. But I'm out there to have fun again, and I want to keep bettering my racing style, because I know that in the end it's going to help me for sure, and it'll just pay off. So it's all focused on my driving style and getting myself more and more confident, because I'm not a confident person in the end, so I think it's very important to get myself the confidence nice and high behind the wheel, and I'll be able to I'll have the rewards at the end.
Well, I mean, that's great news to hear. You know, I really hope we see you at the end of the season battling, like, really close for that points championship at Flamborough Speedway.
I am hoping so.
Now, you did venture off last year, and you headed up to Sawwell Speedway for their invitational.
I did.
And if I remember correctly, that was been the first time you have ever raced anywhere else besides Jukasa.
That is correct. I did the Jacasa race the one time. That track was phenomenal. I am sad that it's closed now because it was a great track. But yeah, Sawwell was the first time I've ever traveled off of Flamborough besides Jacasa, and it was fantastic. I had such a fun time. They ran the racetrack perfectly. The night flowed so nicely, and it was such a fun experience for me. And I definitely feel like driving a different track. I mean, everyone says it, but driving a different track gave me more confidence going back to Flamborough the next weekend to do my regular racing.
And how did you make out at that race up there at Sawwell again? I can't remember where you finished.
Oh yeah. Halfway through the race, I was running about consistently 5th to 10th for majority of the race, and then I got involved with a guy, and he got me sent backwards quite a bit because I was trying to collect my car, and then, sorry. Thank you, Mom. It's been a while.
We got our camera lady over there who's also has all the stats for her,
Yep.
so it's awesome.
She needs like a little script for me.
I was about to say, we need to give you a whiteboard.
Yeah. And then we had that gigantic wreck with Johnny Paradinsky, and that was terrifying. Him and Corey McAllister, that was really scary, and so we had that long red flag, and so after that, your motivation gets killed pretty much because you're worried about your fellow drivers and you're worried about the consistency. And so it was just late, and then I ended up finishing, I think, about 15th, maybe between 10th and 15th. And I'm just happy even with that because in the end, Johnny was fine.
Yep.
Corey was fine. Cars can be fixed and replaced, and that doesn't matter. So it was a good night.
Obviously, besides that terrible wreck with Johnny, when I even heard about that, my heart started breaking because I'm like, and seeing all the pictures from it, that is a heartbreaking scenario, and we don't wish anything like that upon any competitor.
No.
No matter how much we disagree with them, we never wish upon that on anyone.
No, I was coming up behind it, and so I saw the aftermath of it, and originally I didn't think it was that bad, but they called us in a red flag, and it started getting a little worried because the drivers obviously were talking, and they're talking about how an ambulance is coming from like off track so that they can take him to a hospital.
Oh, wow.
And they're not extracting him, and then they say to get the jaws of life out to cut the car apart. So then your heart gets started and like getting really fast, and you're getting really nervous. So it was bad, but he's okay, and I'm really, really glad for that.
Yeah. And that's one of the, I guess it's one of the things like I know I learned from it when growing up watching Days of Thunder is, the scene with Nicole Kidman where she's going at Tom Cruise about how race car drivers are scared because they don't want to see anything bad happen to themselves or even their fellow competitors, but they get in the car because they want to go fast. They have this thrill about them, but as Harry Hogden said in it, it says if you get a race car driver to a funeral before he's actually dead, you've made history. And I think it's no different than, and that's obviously a NASCAR ranking, and we're talking all the way down here at short tracks. So it's, and obviously that's a movie. It's a totally different thing. But but we never want to wish that upon anyone, because we all got day jobs. Like, that's the thing.
This is a hobby.
These are hobbies for us. They're very, very expensive hobbies. And if you go ask any race car driver, guaranteed I should be seeing some nods walking around going like, yeah, that's expensive. And we were talking about that with Mike Thompson yesterday, actually, because he goes, when fans go to a racetrack, we want to see the wrecks because it's fun to see the wrecks, but we also want to see a good race. If a wreck happens, we will hope it's an accident.
Yeah.
Race car drivers see a wreck and they're like, that's $350. That's another $150.
They open their wallet up and they're like, all right, let's get this out.
You just pull out the debit card. Just like, okay, just tell me how much it's going to be.
I hope it's not too much for my debit card. I might have to pull out my second one. So
maybe I have to take out another loan on my mortgage on my house. And
yep, get a third job.
But yeah, it's crazy how expensive race cars are. For anyone who's walking by right now and listening, we will be playing a game called Checkers or Wreckers here in a little bit. If you guys want to test your knowledge on some Canadian racing trivia. A lot of it's going to be useless knowledge. I'm going to be completely honest with you, and some of it's going to be quite interesting. There is a chance to win some prizes. We do have a tumbler, your choice of tumbler, if you guys would like to pick one, and as well as the second place guy will walk away with a True North Racing Podcast sticker. And I think I'll even bump it up. I'll even get a Joe Media sticker from my stash, and we'll give that to you as well.
Oh,
so
wow.
if anyone's listening, walking by right now, you guys want to test your racing knowledge and trivia, come on up around 11:40, and we'll pick a couple people out of the crowd. But with that being said, I was weird because I just felt like I was doing the fan question period, how I run that segment. But I mean, that segment is being presented by Taylor to You Media and Design, so I mean that's same sponsor, different wording. But a couple years ago, you ended up getting to victory lane for the first time.
I did.
Which I was there for that, and I was super proud of you for that. I know that. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how that night went for you?
Oh, that was a long race. I got lucky. I started P2, so I had a nice head start. My buddy Michael was underneath me. I know I'm quite stronger on the starts than he is, and so I was able to get in front of him, and I didn't think it would last long. It normally doesn't for me. I normally get maybe a quarter through the race, and then the front guys start coming up behind me, and I don't normally am able to hold my own behind them, so I normally give my spot up pretty quickly because I get nervous and anxious, and so, but that didn't happen this time, and I don't know what went differently in my brain, but it was fantastic. I raced about almost half the race before the top guys behind me even got close to me, and so it was just confidence boosting after confidence boosting. Every lap was fantastic, and then so when I got 5 laps to go, you get the motion from the flagman that there's 5 laps to go, and it clicked in my brain, like, there's 5 laps left, and I'm still leading. Like, I've never been this far. I don't know what to do, and so I started over-driving, and I was getting anxious in the corners, and so my car was getting loose, and I almost lost it, actually. And my mom, listening to the video after, my mom freaked out. She's like, oh, my goodness, no. And that was my thoughts, too. I worked this hard this far, and I almost lost it. But all the other guys behind me lost it, too, so it was a lucky guess. And the last lap, Carl Salt was right behind me, and he dove underneath me in the last corner, and I looked down in my window, and I saw him, and he was sliding up to me, and I just thought, you know what, if you want the position, you're going to take us both out, because I ain't giving it up this time. I am at the last corner, and I'm going to take this feature win for my first time, and that's exactly what I did. I raced him down the front stretch, and got the checkered flag. It was fantastic.
I was busy because the CVMs, I think, ran just before you.
Yep.
So I had to go finish up some coverage with them. So I didn't get a chance to go up to the fence and watch most of the race, but of course I watched it on Pedal Power later on. And we're so thankful for Pedal Power.
Oh, they're fantastic.
At Flamborough Speedway as they broadcast, or they tape delay a lot of the races. And they actually put them up relatively pretty quick the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Over the course of a day. So big shout out to Pedal Power. If you guys are looking for some racing content from Flamborough Speedway, they do air a lot of the races from the night before on a tape delay system. It's great to watch, and I'm sure it causes some fights between family members and stuff like that when you guys are fighting about what happened the night before and what you saw compared to what someone else saw.
Yep.
And as well, it can also shut people up as well because
it shuts them up pretty quickly.
you play the clip and it's like, yep, there it is, and
flat out, there's the evidence, and you have nothing left to say.
But I remember when I heard Kaitlyn Wallace go across the speakers in the back there, and I'm like, did she just? And I start jogging towards the fence line so I could see the scoring pylon. When I see that 45 at the top of the tower, I'm like, no freaking way. I remember running down towards the towards tech there, and I was like, I need to go say congratulations, and everyone was around your car, so I'm like, I'll just come back later.
Yeah, it was.
But I know everyone was so proud of you, and no one went home upset.
No, it was everyone around me, all my competitors all came to congratulate me, and that's the greatest thing about racing my mini stock at Flamborough Speedway is all of us are just a big family, and so when things go wrong, you always go after and talk to each other because you don't want to have drama in your division. And so after that night, I had pretty much every single driver come up to me and congratulate me and hug me and say, like, it was well-deserved and you worked your butt off all these years for this and you've worked so hard and you finally got it and you deserved it. And then Carl came up to me and that meant even more because he looked at me and he said, I could not get you. He's like, I threw that Hail Mary in that last corner and just hoped that you would flinch and that I'd bluff you and hoped you'd flinch about it, and you didn't flinch, and I've never been so proud in my life. So it was a great feeling to have all those guys coming up to me after all these years racing with them.
Absolutely. I would be. Like, you spent, at that point, it was about almost 4 seasons racing?
4 to 5, yeah.
And then to get your first feature win obviously means a lot. I know that trophy's probably sitting up in your room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With that being said, we in the past, when you won, you were also hosting a podcast under Joe Media, the driver's seat.
Yep.
You had fun on that show.
Oh, it was a blast.
You guys always made me edit so much out. Like, I thought my Sunday shows were bad, but then it was like there would be a lot of laughing and stuff, and I'm like, man, I gotta take a lot of this out.
Yeah.
So we'd be on a call for about like 3 hours recording the podcast, and
you'd have maybe 40 minutes worth of.
I'd use about 45 to an hour worth of content.
Yep.
And at one point, I was like, I'm just gonna leave this, and if people like it, people like it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
But we definitely miss having you on. We were gonna have you on as on the podcast of the True North Racing podcast as well as a co-host. And of course, we miss you dearly on the show because it's great to have that driver's perspective.
Yeah.
And it means a lot when we're trying to understand different classes, and and we love Megan. We love Megan. Her knowledge of the pure stocks is fantastic, and with you've even raced a couple enduros. You've gone and done stuff like that, and it's nice to have different perspectives, and it's. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the enduros you run, and did you have fun during those at least?
I've actually only raced one enduro.
I thought it was a couple, actually.
No, it was one, and it was very short-lived.
How short? Like, was it less than a mini stock feature?
No, I think I made it a little bit more than a mini stock feature. And, my brain probably tapped out, like, man, you're only used to 25 laps. What are you doing out here? No, I'm kidding. We came out of turn 4, and I've never driven a front-wheel drive car. It's always rear-wheel for me in the mini stock. So front-wheel drive was a lot to get used to, but I had the Thorns Racing. They supported me in a car, so I got to try it out. It was Mazda, and it was fun. It was chaotic. It was crazy. There was so much going on. I had so much to think about and look for and make sure I wasn't, like, driving into dead cars or, like, making sure people weren't spinning out in front of me. And then after about, I think it was maybe 30 laps, came out of turn 4, and it was like 4 of us, 4 wide, and so of course something's going to go wrong, and it just happened to be me that went sideways. And so I went sideways. I got knocked my rear end and got sideways down the front stretch, and some guy came up the wall trying to avoid the chaos on the low and slammed in my front end. And so I slipped because the car was built pretty quickly, so it wasn't built completely for a short person like me. So I slipped down and my knee got stuck in the steering wheel, so I had to get removed out of my car, and I sat on a golf cart the rest of the night with an ice pack on my knee. But those short-lived laps were chaotic.
Yeah,
but it was definitely an experience. I can say you that.
And with that being said, you've also driven another car. You guys were planning on going Oscar racing.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that plan kind of fell to the wayside there.
It wasn't the time for me. I had a lot going on, and I wasn't mentally prepared to do a bigger division. I had a lot to learn still in my mini stock.
Yep.
Shane and Ray Gowan had given me this opportunity, an opportunity of a lifetime actually, to drive Ray's hot rod, and so we took it, and I took it out for practice quite a few times, and it was so fun. That car was so fun. It actually is the reason why I learned how to 2-foot my race car. I never 2-foot for years.
I remember we had that conversation.
Yeah, I never 2-foot. I'm pretty sure I won my feature race with 1-footing. Like, I hadn't 2-footed yet.
Yeah.
And So that hot rod helped me learn how to 2-foot because I had literally no option. I could not get my foot off the gas fast enough to hit the brake before I went in the corner. So I had no option, or else I was wrecking someone else's car, and it was going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of power in those things. A lot.
I mean, compared to your little 4-banger,
Yeah.
going up to an 8-cylinder, it's
And they're huge.
they are.
They're wide.
There's so much room.
Yeah, there was loading it on the trailer was very stressful environment for me because I had about a millimeter of wiggle room on either side of my tire to get straight up the trailer.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot to learn to get on the track and start getting up to speed. It took me a while. I putted around the racetrack a lot at a really slow speed. But I started getting my confidence. I started going up, and I was actually running probably the lower end of the not top times, but like the lower end of the Oscar Hot Rod times. And so I was getting there, and it just, once I started getting more confident there, the idea of racing it wasn't there yet. And so it wasn't fair for Ray to hold on to this car for me when it was going to be more feasible for them to sell it. So we helped them sell it to Brian Wilson.
Yep.
And he races it now, and so it's great to see that car on track finally, because I wouldn't have taken it there quite yet. I may have done it this coming year if I actually still had the car, but it's nice to see it on the track last year and everything, so it's not just sitting in a shop.
Well, I mean, you just kind of alluded to my next question here, is will we ever see the Pavement Princess move on from mini stocks and go to a different division?
I don't know. I've honestly, people ask me this a lot on, what my plans are in racing and, what is my goal, and I don't really have one. I know that sounds bad, but, I don't have an end goal for me. I'm having fun. I'm learning a lot, and basically my motto is if it stops being fun, then there's no need to do it, because if it's not fun for me, I shouldn't be in the car, because I'm just going to make it worse for everyone else around me. So, if I had the opportunity again to drive a hot rod, because those were my diehard for years, I loved those cars. If I had an opportunity to come in my lap one more time about driving those, I might actually consider taking it to a race. But right now I am quite content in my little mini stock and trying to get that gal back in victory lane and maybe championship.
Well, I mean, it won't be the same car that you get to victory lane, because it would be that new car.
That is true. My the car we have here is the old car. It has a nice little pretty victory lane sticker on it. But my new car, my dad built it not this past off season, but the year before, or the off season before 2023.
Yeah.
He built me a nice brand new car, and the old one, it got twisted a little too many times. So it was only fair to try and start new and start fresh. So we got this new one, got it going, and the last year was fantastic with that car, and I think it's only up from here with that one.
I would certainly think so, especially with the way you've been driving that thing. Is you guys already figured out the bugs, which is obviously hard to do in your first year with a brand new car.
Way better than the first car, because it took me a whole season, 7 engines, 3 rads,
my God.
Whole front clip, whole rear clip, whole body about 3 times. Yeah, it was a bad season.
All I'm hearing is cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah. When we grenaded it the one time in turn 1 and 2, we were first lap, hot lap. My parents weren't even there, and we took the green, and I slammed down on the gas, and as I let go of the gas pedal to go in the corner, it went boom, and put oil all over the track. Took, sadly, me and Sean Taylor up in the corner. It was a hard hit. I ended up spending the night in the hospital because the safety crew guys would not let me leave unless I went to the hospital. So it was a fair evaluation, because apparently I had a somewhat triple concussion. 3 sides of my brain were bruised out of the 4, so it was a rough time. So, but yeah, one season, maybe a month to get the bugs out of this new car I think that was a win. Almost better than a championship.
I mean, to be fair, getting that new car prepared and dialed in is a lot harder than, because you can go off a baseline of what you were running in your old car.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to build a whole new notebook for this new one, because or else you're not going to learn.
Yeah, and my dad built my first car, because when I started racing my first season, I got my car from the Nagys, my cousins. And so that was my first season. And so the second season, my dad had built the brand new car, and he built that one like a tank. So it was to protect his little girl over the speed, because I wasn't anywhere close to being ready to do speed. So this one was more built to be an actual mini stock car and right weight and everything, so I could actually compete. So our notebook for the other car, it worked to start it off to make sure it was at a place where I can start it, but that notebook had to go out the window pretty quickly because the design of this car was way different. So we had to start changing it pretty fast, and once we started changing and we had a few issues, that's when we decided that just start a brand new notebook and start trying new things and setups and lightening it and all that stuff. So.
And I know one thing for sure is that I am not allowed to put a GoPro on your car again.
Yeah, that was one of my bad nights. I think
that was interesting, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because like you took the car out, you practiced it a couple times.
Yeah. It
and
wasn't
then
like it was the first practice and then it wasn't working. It was going.
Yeah, you went out a couple times, and I finally got the GoPro over to you, slapped it on, and the car wouldn't go anywhere.
Well, the interior one wouldn't turn on.
Yeah, the interior one wouldn't turn on.
And then the one you put on the rear end, yeah, my car decided that it didn't want to go anymore, so I had to get pushed off the track.
And I know the whole time you were thinking like, oh, there's a GoPro back there. Please be careful. Please be careful.
Yep, because it was like right on that bottom hoop right there, and that's
where
the push truck goes right there. So I'm like, oh man, that's gonna be so expensive if I wreck John's GoPro.
No. And the worst part was it wasn't even so like for anyone walking by, I have 3 GoPros that I slap on race cars on a weekly basis, and we think one of them is cursed because every time it was on a Canadian Vintage Modified or from the 2021 through 2023, they usually ended up one way or another being wrecked. The GoPro was in one car and he blew a motor going into turn 3. There was one guy last year, I put a GoPro on his car. He wrecked in practice. He tagged the wall, and it was actually the GoPro was on that side of the bumper bar as well. It was on the right-hand side of it. I don't know why I should really need to get rid of that one. Maybe it's because it got cracked in 2021. Maybe that's why.
It.
But it has been cursed ever since. So I guess I could blame it all the way back to Mike Pod because he's the one who had the camera on when it cracked.
Hey, don't blame Mike Pod for this.
I love Mike Pod. So, I mean, I love the whole class. I love all the drivers in that class. So, I mean, it's all good.
You got to blame the gremlin that climbed into that camera instead.
Yeah. I mean,
you should give it a name.
We have come up with so many different names for little things that we have done. So whenever we were recording on Zoom, we actually had a nickname for whenever the person who came on, it goes, "You are now recording." We actually named that person. We named her Sandra. So if she was delayed or anything like that, we would start getting mad at the voice of Zoom because we weren't sure what the heck, like why it was taking so long. So like, what are we going to name it then?
You know what? I'm feeling Steve.
Steve?
Feeling Steve.
All right, so now my GoPro number 7 is named Steve. So, and I actually have that.
Sandra.
I have that one with me today.
Oh, really?
I have it. I have
Don't
it over.
Don't put it near me. Take it away from my car too.
It's sitting in the booth right now. It's with all my other GoPros. But for anyone walking by, if you guys wanted to learn more about the True North Racing Podcast, Drone Media, I'll be sitting over here in the Boneyard Event Services Podcast corner after the show. I will be on stage a couple more times today. With a couple of different guests as well. So please feel free to come by. We got Cody Wilds at 1 o'clock. Actually, we're going to be talking with Jennifer Hatch at first. We got some great news because earlier this week we found out that a fan of hers that she received a flag from 20 years ago, we were able to reunite the two, which is awesome news because it tells me how much this racing community means to each other.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. And all I'm going to say is that person's a police officer now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Her name is Amanda. She's a police officer. And but yeah, we're going to learn more about it with Jennifer at 1 o'clock. So if you guys want to come back and find out a little bit more how the racing community really comes together and helps out. And we got to thank Rich Schwarzenberg as well because he's the one who recognized her. And it's a cousin to one of his brother's crew members. I can't remember how they put it, okay? It's like that second cousin twice removed, married on my mom's side. It's one of those kind of things. I can't really remember at the time. But, yeah, we'll learn more about that at 1 o'clock. And then shortly after as well, we'll be chatting with Cody Wilds from London. He is a super stock driver. He actually had a terrible wreck to end last year, so we're going to have a lot of fun with that one as well.
That was rough.
That was one.
That was terrible.
Season ending. But look, he's got a new car. We're going to talk all about that. And apparently we got a laugh counter coming for that one.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Heard his dad's going to be bringing a laugh counter for us to see how many times Cody laughs or makes anyone else laugh in the crowd. But I think we're going to get into our... So if anyone wants to try and win a little bit of a prize pack, we do have a giveaway going on right now. So anyone who has knowledge of racing here in Canada or NASCAR in general, want to come give it a shot, please come over to the table. We'd be more than happy to have you guys. We got a True North Racing Podcast tumbler or a racing Weekends Are for Racing tumbler. So if anyone wants to test their knowledge, we'd be more than willing to have you guys up on stage and take your chances. It's going to be a fun little thing. So if anyone wants to stop by, please feel free, and we'll get going on that as long as we have 2 people up here. But I'm excited for that one because I've worked really hard on these questions. I'm going to be honest.
I remember when you used to make Megan and I do it.
I remember the one I did for, was it because you guys were going away to Niagara for the weekend because you guys had an off weekend?
Yeah.
And I made it completely Niagara-based.
I don't think I answered
Neither one got you a correct answer. Like, that was the fun part.
Yeah, trivia is not my strong suit.
And there's nothing wrong with it. I just for me, I have useless knowledge.
I do not. I don't have a lot.
I carry a lot of useless knowledge with me, and I know it shocks a lot of people when I do say certain things. Because they're like, how do you know that? I'm like, it's something I picked up 20 years ago.
I heard it from this person who said this person to this person, and yeah, it's stuck in my brain.
Yeah,
they weren't even talking to me.
Yeah. Like this, okay, so I'll give you guys a little hint here. It's like when so in Niagara Falls, okay, there is the Sir Isaac Brock Monument over in Queenston Heights. So there is first of all, there is also a grave marker inside Fort George, but there's also on the side of the tower, it also states that him and his first lieutenant are buried underneath the monument. Again, useless knowledge. Why do I have that knowledge? I don't know. It just baffles my mind a lot of times.
Did you walk up to the monument and see that?
I did walk up to the monument and see that one.
I'm sure you did.
I actually want to walk up the monument. I don't want to pay $5 to walk 30 stories. Actually, I don't think it's 30 stories, but
Yeah, I don't think it's that big.
I know it's a very tight corridor, and I did it when I was a young kid. And I don't know if I could do it again, especially after the last 2 times I've usually gotten made fun of when I've gone on hikes. And there's been a really steep hill near the end of it. I've told you about those ones, right? Yeah. Yeah, those are never fun for me.
No.
I can't, yeah, it's just... But like I said, if anyone is walking by and wants to win a little bit of a prize pack, we are taking challengers to test their racing knowledge. So Cam K, Feeney, you're in, buddy. Come on up.
You know, I know Dale Millard said he was going to do it.
Yeah. Dale Millard, if you are around, we'd love you to come over to the racing stage here. You said you were going to play our game, so...
I know where he's hiding.
Yeah.
It happens to be beside the ice cream car over by Flamborough Speedway.
Yeah, if we don't get to that, that's okay. But, yeah, if anyone wants to test the racing knowledge, we'd love to have you guys. We need 2 contestants, though. That's the only thing, is we need 2 contestants. Or we'll put you guys up against Kaitlyn Wallace. How about that? Because you don't know the questions.
You will win the tumbler. I can tell you that right now. I didn't grow up in racing. I grew up being a dancer and a horseback rider. So my trivia knowledge on racing is not that strong.
They're not bad. They're not tough questions.
It doesn't matter. I always joke with people. There's not a whole lot going on up here anymore, man. I had 7 concussions in a very short period of time.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
No.
Let's be real.
I think it made me funnier, though. My mom's very embarrassed to be my mom now.
Denise, are you still having fun? Perfect. That's all that matters. Yeah, so I'll be, like I said, guys, I'll be over hanging out here at the Boneyard Event Services Podcast Corner throughout the show. If you guys want to learn more about the True North Racing Podcast, Jomo Media, please feel free to stop by. We'd love to talk to you guys. Actually, as of yesterday, we are now at 43 drivers. I don't know if you heard that.
No, I didn't.
Because I signed you and Dale for the next year. So now I'm at 43. So
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. My goal is now 50.
What? Oh yeah, you need 2 more, and then it'll be 45, and then you're mint.
No, we're putting it at 50. We're putting our total here at 50.
You know what? I think you should stop at 45. That's a pretty cool number, so I've heard.
I mean, it's not a right number. It's not the best number.
You know what?
32 is a better number.
Tyler Reddick runs 45, and he's a pretty good race car driver.
Yeah, but there's two things you guys have in common, though. There's one thing you guys have in
Ginger?
common. No, short.
Oh, he's
So
a
I guess
ginger,
two things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, ginger and short.
And the number. It's perfect. 3 things in common with a NASCAR driver. It's make it.
And you weren't even playing. You guys never even planned that.
No. Nope. Complete coincidence.
But we are working towards 50 drivers. So we are currently working towards 50 drivers. If you guys are any race car drivers are looking for promotions for the 2024 season, we'd love to work with you. Like I said, find me over the Boneyard Event Services podcast corner here shortly after the show. Love to chat with you. Love to get your profile up on the website. Lots of things we do, like vlogging. We do put these podcasts. Obviously, that's a different entity for us. But we always got lots going on. There's lots of things, lots of people to talk to, lots of good things to have fun, to chat about. And, of course, the one thing we love talking about is racing.
Oh, 100%.
I think I could talk racing all day long and never get bored of it.
Well, there's so much to talk about.
You're correct. Now, we got about, 10 minutes here, Bryce? Yeah, I called it. So
Look at you go.
I know, right? Thankfully, my phone doesn't shut off anymore, so I always have a timer up on my, not a timer, but I always have the clock up on my screen. We're seeing a lot of people walking throughout the show here today.
Oh, there's going to be so many people today.
Which it obviously is amazing. Now, with that being said, apparently our topic of the week has been fan engagement.
Oh, yeah.
That has been the one thing I've talked about the most with a lot of drivers and people with so far. And some of the tracks that are here, even present here today, do some of the best fan engagements. Now, with that being said, drivers, I feel like need to step up their game a little bit.
Well,
do you agree with that?
Wrong. You are not wrong.
So, yesterday we were talking about how drivers need to start being more like going up into the grandstands, or like last year with the CVMs, they each got a checkered flag, and at one point, actually, it was your super fan. I don't think one of your super fans. I think they actually went home with a checker flag from one of the drivers, from Ricky, one night.
Lil Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name.
Lil Lincoln.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. Him and his little sister Layla.
They come out quite often, don't they?
Oh yeah. Oh, almost every weekend.
Yeah.
Unless Jess is away or something, but other than that, almost every weekend.
So with that being said, it's great having a super fan like that.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I know you guys have gotten some stuff from them, and of course you guys treat them very well when they come to the track. I see, more or less I saw from Ricky's side because I've been with the CVMs. But definitely, like, that family loves racing. They love seeing you guys, and that's a good thing.
I believe Jess grew up watching racing, and so she obviously wanted her kids to be that way, and Lincoln latched on to Ricky and I pretty quickly, which is a huge honor for me. So it's really nice to have a little guy and a little girl when she comes to the track, always cheering me on. I can always see them in the stands. He's always dancing and jumping, and so it's fun. And it's nice to have someone that really is out there, love watching you do what you do, and it's not just you out there doing it for you. It's there's someone out there sitting and being like, hey, I like her. I really like watching her, and I want her to keep being out there. So it's fun.
And one of the fun things that you guys get to do for fan engagement that the track offers is that you guys this year actually will have 2 Meet the Drivers nights, and as well as 1 Kids Ride night.
I feel like I should know that.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
I have worked on schedules so far, so yeah, I've been getting really knowledgeable with the track schedules this year. But with that being said, obviously, Meet the Drivers Night, obviously one of the fan favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Where they get to come on track. You guys hand out candy, cookies, hero cards, stuff like that. And
I don't know about any other driver, but it's one of my favorite nights in racing. It's definitely like one of the things I've strived for in racing. And so, actually, I did know there was 2. I forgot. We did get our schedule back in January, so I did know there was 2. It's not usual, so
it didn't resonate.
No, it didn't sit, because I remember sitting at the banquet table saying that I'm super excited about having 2 of those nights, because it's great. You see all these little kids and even like teenagers sometimes come up, and like, I don't know about anyone else, but to me that means almost more than a little kid when a teenager comes up to you and is like, you're my favorite driver. And I'd be like, really? Me? Like, not that person, me? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm like, well, thank you. I'm honored to have you like me. So, yeah, it's one of my favorite nights. And I'm sure all the other drivers probably feel the same way because it's a high almost that you feel.
Oh, yeah. Like, I remember when I was crewing even for someone, for RJ Croto, back when he was running Super Stocks, we went out there for Meet the Drivers night, and I remember the one person came up to him, and I don't want to pick on him a little bit in case he's here, but sorry, RJ. Someone came up to him and started asking him about the race car, and they're like, he's like, I don't know, go ask him. And he points to me, and he goes, the fan goes, you guys have the best looking car out there. I'm like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, our motor doesn't work very well. I'm like, I'm hoping to make a few changes here, but it's not going to do much better than what we've been doing. But it is even the one thing I love doing is one of the reasons why I got into doing what I'm doing now as well is I love engaging with the drivers to get to the fans. I got a lot being planned over the next couple of years here, and we're trying to bring that fan engagement even away from the track, which obviously you guys do because you guys show up to Dairy Queen.
Yep. My big sponsor, Dairy Queen in Brantford, is they bring me out every Miracle Treat Day, and it's fantastic. I mean, I get a blizzard out of it, so it's cool, but it's great because there's always obviously a lot of kids going to those events because they want a blizzard, and I mean, I don't blame them because they're really good. So
they are really good.
Yeah, it's fun having. It started out actually getting invited through a mutual friend, and then that's how I got the sponsorship through Dairy Queen, and so it's been a fun experience.
That's awesome. Now, I'm still waiting on those free blizzards.
So am I.
Or like a free dip cone whenever she gets a top 3. I think we need to start working on that deal for next year.
I'll have my manager in charge of that one.
Yeah,
you hear that, Mom?
That's a deal I think that needs to be made. Every top 3, she gets 50 people that show their stuff from Flamborough Speedway for that particular night get a free dip cone.
That'd be pretty cool. I you know what? I like that. I might have to talk to Ken about that.
It brings me back to the Dave Blaney Golden Corral car when he drove the 36 in NASCAR. He would have a kids eat free top 10 on every time he scored a top 10, which wasn't very often, but thank you. It's all good. Thank you. But we got a couple minutes left, so we are. Why don't you get a wow?
Okay.
Yeah, I got a little stumble there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your sponsors and thank your sponsors for us?
All right, so obviously my big one is Dairy Queen Brantford. They are fantastic, and they've always really supported me. And then I have Canesville Tire Discounter, Jacasa Designs, Bayless Printing. I have my mom's old store, I guess, technically, and my dad's company. And I think that's it. Obviously, like Jomo Media, Ladies of the Oval, they've been fantastic with me. I'm very grateful to being connected with them since they started. What they're doing is a fantastic thing promoting all the women in racing because it is hard being a woman in racing because it's not even discrimination, it's just the fact there's not a lot of us. And so it's nice to have a group where we all are connected. And so there's that. And then, Project Dragonfly, for mental health. Those are my sponsors, and it's nice and short, but they're all real great with me, and they help me so much throughout the race season. So,
well, where can they find you on social media?
We have Facebook and Instagram. I think Instagram's Wallace.racing, and then Facebook is just Wallace Racing. All right.
Well, Caitlyn, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me up here.
No problem. Hope you had fun.
Yeah, once I started.
Yeah. I know how nervous you were before coming up here, so it's all good.
I'm not a social person, so yeah. Well, thank you.
No problem. Anytime. Well, we're going to get out of here in just a couple seconds here, but of course, we got to thank all our sponsors here for the True North Racing Podcast. The True North Racing Podcast is presented by Vision 20 Studios. Graphic design brings us our guest segment each week, and we also got our Tailored to You media design fan question period. We also got Wilds Printing, which has some really good-looking cars in the show this year. We also got 19 Marketing, Valhalla Mobile, Georgetown Printing, good partnership with Stickers and Scuffs, Lift the Visor, and of course we got our vlog series we will be running this year. So if you guys like racing, we got I think 12 scheduled race day vlogs so far. So we'll be going around to many different tracks, going to different checking out different divisions too. We got pure stock all the way up to late model. So we got you covered this year for racing content over at Joe Media. You guys can find us at joemedia.ca. Like I said, we will be over at the Boneyard Event Services podcast corner just across the hall here from the stage. But thank you guys so much for listening and walking by, and I hope you guys enjoy it here at the...
I forgot a sponsor.
What'd you forget?
It's really embarrassing that I forgot this one. They came on about 2 years ago now. Pete and Sharon Shepard. They came on very...
That's a important one.
Yeah. I feel really bad for this one. Oh, my goodness. It's because I was picturing my car, and they don't have a decal. They don't want me to really put them out there. They just want to help me from behind the scenes. But they came on 2 years ago now, and they have been nothing but fantastic with me. They have taken me right under their wing, and Sharon has been so great with me, and I love them so very much for everything they've done for me. So, yeah, I want to thank them for sure. Sorry for not remembering.
That's okay. We'll make sure we edit this in post-production, okay? But thank you guys for checking out the True North Racing Podcast presented by Vision 20 Studios. Like I said, we'll be across from the stage here at the Boneyard Event Services. Enjoy your time here at the Motorama Custom Car and Motorsports Expo. For Kaitlyn Wallace, I'm John Morrison. We'll see you guys at 1 o'clock.
North Racing Podcast that you need if you got the need for speed. John Morrison interviewing guests in the industry. Hey, short track, stock car racing. Gotta get it hype. Saturday night under the lights. Hear the engine rooming by. Smell the gas and feel the vibe. Going into overdrive. Drop the flag, then the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing. Let's go.